Well, good morning guys, happy Monday and welcome back to the farm. So yes guys, quick spraying job this morning which I did not film, mainly because I left the camera over at the spray shed, which it happens from time to time, so it is what it is, but I think you guys get the picture anyway. So it is Monday the 9th of October today, so time is really starting to get away from us. Good morning!
Birthday cake monster!
Birthday cake monster?
Yeah!
Did you make that?
Yeah!
Hello! You got a fly hanging off your nose. Oh, there's no shortage of those. There's no shortage of those, is there? Hello.
She's been running up. Camera! Say morning! Hi!
You say hello. Right, first point of call is I need some acetylene because, well, I need to really get that big green lump there back together, and I need some acetylene to do that. I know, it might seem a little bit weird. Normally with acetylene you're pulling things apart, but anyway, you'll see. Acetylene acquired, and they even had it in stock today, so that's an even bigger bonus. Just saw a couple of the Deere mechanics rocking up here at their local branch, and that's when it jogged my memory. I have a part there that I need to collect, so I did just stop in and get that. Uh-oh. You alright there, little buddy? I don't think he's okay. I've opted for the big bottle of acetylene this time. We've always just had the little bottles, and they never seem to, well, I mean, just the amount we use it, they normally last a fair while, but lately we've had a couple of small bottles and they don't seem to last very long. That there, my friends, is a new bulkhead, and that needs to go into the 9770. But fine people of the tubes, first we must conquer the cast iron hole. So I'm going to try and weld a bit of a patch over this hole up here in the corner. This is cast iron. I was speaking to my mate who's a welder about the best way of welding that because I wasn't too sure, and he said just use your MIG welder, get your oxy on here first, really heat this area up, get it fairly warm, that way because it's cast. If you just weld onto it, you could really heat one area up and then it cools down and it could crack the cast. If you heat the whole area up and then you weld onto it and then it cools down, it all cools down at the same time, and therefore you minimise your risk of cracking it. But he said just don't overcomplicate it, heat it up, just use your MIG, weld it, be done with it, sort of thing. So that's what we're going to do. But first we must manufacture a patch to go over there before we get too carried away with anything else. I tell you, what was that? Maybe it was just that. We'll try that again. It is an absolutely cracking day out here today, guys. That's what I was gonna say. It is 25 degrees, sunny, absolutely gorgeous. I tell you, it hasn't been a great spring for farming. It's been a great spring for living, and for that we are very grateful. I honestly think something like that should do the job nicely. Grind him up, get it to suit. I think we are just about there, guys. That looks pretty nice. I think we'll grind that out a little bit, shine it up, and then we'll run a little bit of welder around it and patch done. Alright guys, we've got a patch. We're cleaned up down in there. Oxy, welder, water, firefighter, and battery's disconnected so we don't give anything an accidental frying. Alright, she's tacked in place now. I just don't want to get it too hot, so I'm kind of just tacking it all the way around, and I've drilled a couple of holes in the middle there as well, and I've welded it on the middle as well, so it's not going to last forever, it's just got to get us by for a little bit longer, so I think that should pretty well do the job. Well, that all went fairly well, I think. I mean, it's not pretty, but you know, like I said, it's not going to last forever as long as she sticks there for a while. Almost like it came straight from the factory. We've just had a bit of a crack back here, which had been welded up before, but it just cracked again, so I'm going to try and do a bit better job of it this time. Well guys, I did it again yesterday and I got completely carried away down here. While the welder was sitting here, I thought I'd take a preemptive strike against that little hole that we blew in that middle rotor cover last year, and I thought, well, if it's thin there, it may be thin above it, so I'll weld a bigger patch up over the top of it. So I did that, and as I was welding along the top, I blew a hole in the rotor cover with the welder. So I cut out another patch and I welded that above the first patch. And no, I'm not going to win any prizes for my welding, so just ignore that. But you might be saying to yourself, oh Henry, this is just silly, why don't you just replace some of these parts? Well, yeah, that's a good point. Why don't we just replace some? Well, I think that front rotor cover's about $2,500–3,000. I know this middle one's closer to $4,500–5,000. I have no idea what the back one is. That's probably more like 6 or 7. Any of these parts on the floor down here where I welded up that first patch, I've had a bit of a look. They probably range from like anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000+ each. So you can see you can rack up a lot of money very, very quickly on these things. It's all about extracting the most amount of life out of the things that we've already paid for, meaning that we've already bought this machine, so we've bought it. We need to get, we want to try and get as much life as we can out of all the parts that are on here before we replace it, because I don't know if you know, but margins can be a little bit tight in farming, and most of our crops this year are going to be pretty poor. And speaking of poor crops, let's go down the back here. Let's break this circus up here and go for a quick look down the back here at the beans. Probably the biggest disappointment of the year in my opinion. Alright, so we're out in the beans here. The episode where I went and looked at the hay and the wind blew around the windrows of the hay, well, it also blew the beans around real badly as well, and you can see it's folded over a lot of the tops of them. And so, say here, there's a pod that's trying to form. Well, I don't think that will fill out now, but apart from maybe suffering a bit of yield loss from that, there is just an incredibly poor amount of beans on these beans. Like, look at this. This entire stem has got 2 pods on it. That is just, yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. Look at that. 1, 2 pods. 1, 2 pods on that stem. They're not all quite that bad. Some of them aren't, you know, like this one here is not too bad, but overall, this was such a nice looking crop. The heat, the fact that we haven't had any rain really for a month, over a month now, just absolutely destroyed these. So one thing is, we're going to be able to grow a great wheat crop on here next year. We're going to have tons of N in the soil, nitrogen, because this crop just will not use it. But yeah, the wind really flogged these. They're just about done now. You can see they're all starting to dry out. Look at that, 3 pods on there. Pretty nasty. All in all, the wheat could use a rain and it would still do it a lot of good. It's not going to get one, so it's just struggling away. There's large areas of the paddock starting to go out. The barley's done and dusted. The canola, it is what it is. That's finished flowering. The yield is going to be what it's going to be. The beans are pretty well stuffed. I don't want to know what these are going to yield. They're not going to be good at all. Yeah, you just can't have that much early heat and lack of rain. It is what it is. But yeah, that's just a bit of an update, guys. I'm not complaining. Please don't take it that way. I'm just sharing with you guys how things are looking. So yeah, I think we need to get that bulkhead in, get the 9770 back together. What are you doing? Did you just get back from Perry? I put that water there in case I started a fire when I was doing grinding and welding on the header. Hello. Hello. Playing around in the rubbish.
Is that just rubbish?
It's all this. So what did you do while you were there? Played with what? I was hoping that all of this here was going to fit in this here, but apparently it's not to be. I've been given a little bit of a hurry along here, and I had to make a few phone calls over the last couple of days because I think we're going to be needing this here shed empty very, very soon, and I'm going to show you guys why. I got the hurry up because the big Crone high density balers here started baling my hay already. And I might need somewhere to store it, so you know, we're gonna have to clear the sheds out. Yeah, as you can see, they made a start last night, probably around, I think it was around 1:30 in the morning. They just needed a bit of moisture in the hay. They still didn't really get it. It was only baled at around 11% moisture last night, which is fairly low moisture. That's lower moisture than you'd want for your own personal use, or say the domestic market. But what we're actually gonna try and do with this hay, because domestically hay is not worth a lot, and it comes down to the fact that livestock aren't worth a lot and nobody can afford to be putting $300+ hay down the throats of livestock at the moment. So with the help of these guys who are baling it, I think we're going to try and send this stuff to export for the export market. So we got a guy coming out today to do a feed test on it. He's actually got to test some of their hay as well, so it's worked out really nicely. But if it tests up all right, I think we're going to send it down to Balco and it's going to be exported. It's worth a lot more. I'm thinking, look, this might be a little bit lean, but if I was trying to sell that hay locally, I'm sort of thinking maybe the low 200s per ton. I know for a fact they've said they'll give us at least $300 a ton for this Kraken barley hay for export, so that's a significant difference. I think we need to, given the year and how tight it's been and the fact that this was a bit of a stuff up, I think we need to try and make the most of the situation. So if we can get that off for export, it'll be a really great result. But that brings me back to the moisture saga. I think export hay, they want it below, is it like 13 or 14, 12 or 14%? They want a very low moisture basically. And the thing with doing low moisture, like baling it with low moisture, it's quite crumbly and powdery, the hay. It's very dry. When we bale it for our own use or say domestic use, you want it more like, I think, 16%, and that just means the hay holds together as it's going through the baler and it creates nice biscuits. It doesn't go all powdery. So depending on what we want to do with the hay, it depends on how they're going to bale it. So we want to know whether this can go for export, hence why the guy's coming today to do the feed test, and then we're going to know a little bit more. So they said they can run off and bale some other hay nearby anyway in the meantime while we wait for it, but we'll wait and see. I think I'm going to leave this video here now anyway, guys. I've been filming for like 3 days. It's been very slow filming because I've been down the shed working on the header. But anyway, I don't even know really what I've got here. Hopefully I can make a decent video out of it. Thank you to all you guys for watching the videos. I really do appreciate it. You guys have yourself a good one, and until next time, see ya. I just talked a lot about hay, and I really don't know a lot about hay.